Welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different.
Hello, my name is Quan Green, and I would love to share some products that I found that are very beneficial to not only my body, but I'm sure that they would really help your body. I found out that a lot of us are impacted and we need to be detoxed, and I found some wonderful products that will safely detox you and help you to eliminate the waste and feel good about yourself. We also have products that will help grow your hair and give your skin more vibrant radiance and suppleness and help with wrinkles. I also have products that will help with joint pain as well as help you to lose weight. These products are all natural, therefore you don't have to worry about putting something in your body that's going to add problems to the problems that you may already be facing. So if you're interested, please give me a call at 706-426-1471, or you can email me at preciousjewel492@gmail.com. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Hi, my name is Samuel Jacobs Abbey, and I'm the host of Be Inspired with the Weekend Night Live with Samuel Jacobs Abbey on Be Inspired Podcast Network. I just want to invite you and your family to tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time and also at 7 p.m. GMT for those across the Atlantic Ocean to tune in to listen to inspiring voices. To listen to our interviews, individuals who have excelled in different forms of life. We bring them so they will be able to share their stories, and we know that their stories will have an effect on you. On Being Inspired Podcast Network, our mission and our goal is to empower people from around the world who have attained a certain height and sharing their stories to make a social change implication. Social change is very important. And it is important that individuals, families, society, and leadership spend time to acquire knowledge and skills to help formulate policies and ideas to help shape their communities. That is the more reason why I want to invite you again to tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time and also at 7:30 GMT on Be Inspired Podcast Network. You can catch us up on www.Be-Inspired Podcast Network, or you can also join us on our Facebook at Be-Inspired Podcast Network, and we can have fun. Once again, tune in and have fun. God bless you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to Be Inspired Podcast Network Incorporated. Based in the Commonwealth of Virginia in the city of Woodbridge. And just for the sake of those who are joining us for the first time from around the world, and for those who may not have necessarily know what Being Inspired is all about, other than just tuning in and enjoying some good interviews, some good music, and what have you. Be Inspired Podcast Network emerged as an innovative and a cutting edge radio program full of inspiration and information with a mission to provide a platform that helps people to solve problems, make informed decisions, and craft solutions to address society's most complex and controversial issues. And we do this by identifying individuals as scholars, social workers, professionals who have contributed towards social change, and presenting them the opportunity with a platform to discuss issues pertaining social change implication. We are very fortunate that today I have one of the veterans, a very good friend of mine. We go way back many years, and today to be our guest in our studio. To begin, a brief profile of her. Adei Boateng is dedicated advocate for peace, leadership, and youth development with over 8 years worth of experience in advocacy. She currently serves as the country's director for Youngstars Development Initiative, a youth-focused NGO with the sole objective of empowering the next generation of leaders. Initiatives of YDI Ghana under her leadership over the years have attracted support from both local and international donors, including Generation of Peace, Jordan, Vodafone Ghana Foundation, etc. Over the 5 years of practice as a journalist, now Adei Boateng comes across a very professional, experienced communicator and detail-oriented person whose crank for quality is unmatched. She is innovative, hardworking, and results-oriented. Her fervent love of work in the non-governmental sector is born out of the desire to see the development of the full potential of people, especially the youth and women who are mostly marginalized in the Ghanaian society. Now, Adei Boateng loves writing and is an ardent supporter of Manchester United. I see that. Accra has a folk, and the local team is a local team in Ghana, and the Black Stars of Ghana. Interest and passion is to create channels to consolidate democracy at all levels on the African continent, creating channels for cross-cultural and international understanding between different people, and developing the African personality. Now, Adei Boateng holds a certificate in broadcast journalism and has worked as journalist contributor for organizations including Spirit FM Kumasi, Kaswa Today, a community newspaper, www.obahima.com in the US, and Heritage Magazine in the United Kingdom. She has an inspiration. First of all, and I quote, "First of all, I do what I want to do because of convenience, but for the positive impact of action on other people. Though what I do, I am imparting the next generation and making my community a better place. What I do strengthens my ties with my community and broaden my support network, exposing me to people with common interests, resources, fun, and fulfilling activities. Working with an organization like YDI is something worthwhile since it gives me the opportunity to understand people and help with solutions. Last but not the least, I have a particular role to play in the peace, leadership, and empowerment of young people and women of my family, community, nation, and the world. that no one can do, and yes, you also have a unique role that one can play. We all have specific roles. Together, let's change the world for the better. Our friends, people from around the world, and followers of Be Inspired, our podcast network. Today, I am once again privileged to welcome to the studios of Be Inspired Radio my good friend, Adei Boateng. Adei, welcome to Be Inspired.
Thank you so much, Sammy. I really appreciate today. It's been nice. It's been a long time, and I'm glad to be catching up with you.
I'm so excited to hear your voice.
I'm super excited.
That
and
is,
very much honored.
Thank you so much, and that is the whole purpose of this network to connect with all those who have contributed their quota, not only in a specific country but from around the world, and for them to share their experiences and also to let the world know what they are working on. So it's a pleasure to have you. Just to begin with our conversation, of course, I know I went ahead and did introduce you, but it's always good to hear from the horse's own mouth. So why don't you take a moment that the things that probably I may have mixed, because I know we have come that far, you have done more than it was on the paper, to just let the world know a bit of you and what you are doing, and then we will dive into our conversation for today.
Right. Once again, my name is Adei Boateng, and I am the country director for Youngstars Development Initiative. It's an international non-governmental organization that focuses on enhancing leadership among youth, improving the competencies of youth organizations involved in development programs, and strengthening youth representation on issues that affect their well-being for nation building. I think you have already said so much about me, and what can I say? I have passion to work with youth, with women, and I always want to be the change that I'm yearning for. Because each one of us, like you said in your introduction of me, each one of us have a role to play. If I may say, the world is a stage, and we all have our individual roles to play to make it a better place for all. And what I do, once I'm able to achieve something in somebody's life, to see that happiness, that smile, it gives me a fulfillment. And for me, I'm there for everybody. So thank you for tuning in, and I really appreciate. I'm honored to be here today.
God bless you, and we are also excited to have you. And of course, nobody knows the background better than me, especially knowing how far we've come with your journalistic approach to things. But today, our conversation, the topic. When I put out the topic, I've gotten a lot of questions, concerns, emails about the topic, because the topic, the phrase by itself, catches attention. The girls in livelihood, girls are not girls are children, not brides. Now, what does that mean?
When you say girls are children but not brides.
Yep.
When I say a girl, I see a girl in the age gap of 0 to 17. She is not matured enough to be somebody's bride or somebody's wife. So girls are just not brides. They are not. They are not matured enough. They are just a female child. A girl is just a female child. The girl is not matured. The girl is immature. And once a child is married, definitely the child is supposed to give birth. And how can a child take care of a child? How can a child, I'm so passionate about this topic so much that I think, how can a child take care of a child? How can a 10-year, or 12 years, 15-year-old become a bride? We are killing these girls' potentials. That early marriages, forced marriages, It's not. It's just not right. It's so questionable. It's just not right. A child cannot take care of a child. Already, that child is not matured. What does she know to become a bride? Why are we putting these girls through this? Why are we putting these girls through this? It's just not right. That is my stand.
Awesome, awesome, and for me, I can hear your voice. I can feel your pain and your frustration in your voice. The good thing is that we have over 17,000 people listening to you.
Right.
I deliberately invited my colleagues at the UNICEF to be on the show. So they are on the show. So I mean, you are speaking to policy makers. In fact, I have friends from the Ministry of Gender and Women Affairs, both in Nigeria and Ghana, who are actually listening to you right now. They both just
Awesome.
prompted me that they are
Very great.
listening to you. So um, don't take the your statements or your concern lightly because policymakers are listening. Now, to
That's
just
great.
to
That's great.
just to
That's
help
great.
us get into the conversation properly, Sender Wambe will then
Right.
ask, who will you define a girl as? I know you had mentioned that a girl is unmatured and all that, but in the proper context of our conversation, who will or how will you define who a girl is?
Thank you, Sammy. Sammy, a girl is a female child from birth to full growth. A girl is a young, immature woman, an unmarried one, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister. I'm talking about a female child of age 0 to 17 years. If it helps, don't think of a girl child as a phrase. Simply let's consider child as a qualifier of girl. That is what who a girl is from age 0 to 17.
That's you.
That girl is immatured.
Great. So, so if I understand or if I hear you correctly, the focus base is
Right.
on the maturity of that child. Now, what will you describe as livelihood?
Well, livelihood. Let me say that if a person's livelihood refers to their means of securing the basic necessities of life, such as food, water, shelter, clothing, etc. It is also a means of supporting. Livelihood is a means of supporting one's existence, especially financially or vocationally. You know, it's often directly related to someone's income in terms of living. You know, as humans as we are, we need the basic necessity or needs of life. Like I just mentioned, food, water, the water bill. So if somebody has this kind of livelihood, a life is what can bring a person some kind of income to be able to have all these necessities of life. That's what I call livelihood.
Got you, got you. So what we are doing, listeners, I know your questions are coming in. Just hold on 1 second. We'll come back to all the questions. What we are doing right now is that, like an academic exercise, we are trying to break the ground. We are trying to get some definitions, and then we'll be able to merge them to see if there is any correlation between age, marriage, and livelihood and all that. So I see all your questions coming. I'm sure that our resource person will address even some of them even before we start asking the questions, because this is something that is very passionate to her. So I know you guys are eager to ask questions, which is okay. We'll come back to the questions. Great. No, so again, still on that. Now, how will you say a child? How will you say a child is a bride? Because now you are. I know from the onset you began by giving those perspective that how can a child take care of a child? How can a child become a bride? Now the question will be, why is it that such unorthodox behavior is an acceptable behavior in our communities?
First of all, let me go back to who a child bride is. A child bride, in my perspective, or from what I have even researched about, is forcing a young girl into marriage. That means she will be separated from her family and friends and transferred to her husband like a piece of property. In an instant, she will be expected to become a woman who keeps house and raise a family, rather than play and study like the child she is. You know, and that is, we are looking at the age of between 10. Most of these child brides are between the ages of 10, 12, 15 to 17. And it looks like in our setting, or yes, if I should put it, in our set, in this part of the world where I'm coming from, there is this kind of thing going on in some of our communities. We will see the girl child as a burden or a property. And at the end of the day, they use the girl because at the end of the day, they are going to get a bride price being paid on the head of the girl that is being given away. So the family is living off that girl. Are you getting me, Sam?
Yes, I'm actually following and I'm taking notes.
Right. You know, and most of these people in some of these communities just use their daughters. They just use their daughters because at the end of the day, they are getting something from it, and it looks like most people, because of poverty, if I should put it, because of poverty. Because why will I give my daughter of age 10 or 12 off for marriage or off to marriage? Off for marriage. Why will I do that? Why will I do that? That's the question I keep asking.
Great.
Why will I do that?
Before we go into...
Also as a mother. I'm talking also as a mother.
Got you. Before we go into the challenges, the outcomes, the effects, which I know you definitely will go deeper into that, I want us to merge. And so, what is the relationship between livelihood and marriage in relation to child bride issue? Once we are able to get that picture, then we will zoom into tough questions, which I have all of them here.
Okay. You know, young married girls are indeed a unique group, coming under great pressure on a number of fronts. They are required to do an equal amount of domestic chores, including new roles and responsibilities as wives and mothers. The young bride's status in the family is frequently dependent on her demonstrating her fertility, often within the first year of her marriage. At a time when she is not yet psychologically and emotionally prepared, you know, and when I bring to put them together as in relation to livelihood and child bride marriage issues, I say we and Youngstars Development Initiative want to give these girls that are being forced into marriages at an early age livelihood. The aim is more of to equip, educate, and empower these girls. Give them a livelihood to support their education and protect them from child and forced marriages. Once they have the skills, once they have the education, all this will stop.
Got you.
Sammy, a minute, please.
Sure.
I'm glad you said UNICEF They have UNICEF officials also listening, which is a very good thing. Because I even have a quote I picked from a UNICEF website that says, Zainab, now 26, married at 10 and gave birth to her first child at 12. As a result of giving birth, her left side is paralyzed and her husband subsequently abandoned her. She now lives with an aunt and sells potatoes. She's unable to educate her daughter because of her situation. I picked it from UNICEF website. It's a big issue. It's a very big issue.
That's a big shame. It's a big shame.
Yeah.
It's big shame that our society and our community will sit and observe such things to happen, particularly to young girls. And I truly understand your passion and your frustrations, because as a child there is early developmental stages that one needs to go through, and so when those developmental stages are cut off, what happens is that the child is forced to instantly behave as a matured person. And it's just like going to school and sitting in class 1, and then all of a sudden they bring in the first year in university exams question for you to answer, and then you are whisked from first year when you don't even know the basics of how to even compute a simple mathematical equation, and you are whipped from there to be put in the first year or in the last year of a university class. The consequences there is that you will try your best to answer the questions, but your answers will all be wrong. Even though they are answers, they are all wrong answers, because you have not spent enough resources and time to acquire skills and knowledge in that area to build enough capacity to belong to that zone. And so it's shame again onto all those who lure families to get into that. But having said that, and now let me open the floodgate for questions which are just flowing in left and right. Now, the first question that I have is actually coming from Babatunde in Nigeria. And Babatunde said, good evening to you now. Thank you so much. From the word go, I could feel your heart, I could feel your voice, and I could see the pain. It's a shame again, just as Samuel indicated, it's a big shame that we continue to have these issues in our society. But the question I want to ask you now is this: what role that culture plays in all this? Because I strongly believe that these things are happening in places where culture is strongly adhered to. What do you think?
Thank you very much, Babatunde. I really appreciate your question. Let me go. Let me go this way. In, let's say, Ghana, for Ghana, for instance, child marriage in Ghana is deeply rooted in tradition and discriminatory gender norms. Decision to marry off people's daughters was often driven by their concern with female sexuality and family honor. In particular, the fear that their daughters may become pregnant out of wedlock, and others is because of poverty. Just that.
Got you. But the reference that Babatunde was referring to in this case is what I know you have mentioned about the traditional settings, but what role that culture in itself plays in this whole bizarre situation?
The role that culture plays, if I'm getting him well, I think it all depends on the family. It all boils down to the family settings. The family that particular girl is coming from, and the norms in that society. That is what I know, and that's what I believe in.
Sure. And a question from Sierra Leone, from Usman in Sierra Leone. And Usman's question to you is this: so if all this is considered very pathetic, just as both you and Samuel considering it, Why is it that our governments will not criminalize such behaviors?
I remember, is it a year or I think 2 years ago, there was an issue like that. A character named Biba or B was being forced into marriage such as what we are discussing. And there was this follow-up, I think, from a particular journalist from one of the stations. And it was stopped. I remember it was stopped because the government also got involved. But most people also do this undercover. You don't even see it. You don't even see it. I even, upon some of my research work that I did in a particular community, a 12-year-old being given away to a 60-year-old man. In fact, some I wept. It goes undercover. You don't see it.
But that's where the challenge. That's where the challenge is, because
that's where the challenge is.
If our society, if people are empowered, if our community is empowered, in fact, that is one of the questions that somebody, Robert, a good friend of mine, asked from Australia. And let me just read what he said. Now, Robert's question to you is that, hey, now, I think that today's topic is very emotional because it borders on children being preyed on. And thank you for the work that you and your organization is doing on the ground. But the question here will be, if government finds these situations to be unacceptable and it's still ongoing, what role as your organization and other civil society organizations have played in bringing community sensitization, public awareness to our local communities, particularly in the villages where these things occur most? Can you please say something around it?
Okay, thank you very much, Sam. I know some organizations, some NGOs such as our NGO, YDI, is on the ground doing the work. You know, one person cannot do this, and one organization cannot just do this. So most people, I know some organizations are up to the task as well, just as we are doing. And what we mostly are doing is also trying to empower women, our mothers, because they are the nation builders. They are trying to empower them, advocate, give them that education, equip them. You know, you can't have it, you can't do it just in one day. It's a process. It will take time. So the most important thing is we have started from somewhere. And it's something that we are passionate about, and we'll continue to do it. Currently, my organization, Youngstars Development Initiative, we have selected 350 girls that we are going to empower, equip, and give them that livelihood. Because some of them are dropped out. And we are going to give them hands-on entrepreneurship skills where they can be able to do something with their hands on their own. We're going to train them for 3 months, intensive, give them a livelihood, get them startup kits. Once they are able to do some of these things, it's going to bring capital. It's also going to push most of them back to school. These are some of the interventions we are bringing on board.
Very good. And
these are girls that we are working.
These are very practical initiatives to provide a level of empowerment to this case, because like you rightly said, once there is an empowerment, once there is an intervention, then people become well informed and well involved in the process. I totally I agree. I agree with you. Now, before we come to our next question, we'll take 1 minute commercial break, and then when we come back, we still have our guest, Adei Boateng, who today is helping us to decipher or to discuss the issue of young girls being put into a position as brides at home. And so continue to keep your dial here at Be Inspired Radio, and we will be right back as for this commercial break.
Welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.
Hello, my name is Quan Green, and I would love to share some products that I found that are very beneficial to not only my body, but I'm sure that they would really help your body. I found out that a lot of us are impacted and we need to be detoxed, and I found some wonderful products that will safely detox you and help you to eliminate the waste and feel good about yourself. We also have products that will help grow your hair and give your skin more vibrant radiance and suppleness and help with wrinkles. I also have products that will help with joint pain as well as help you to lose weight. These products are all natural, therefore you don't have to worry about putting something in your body that's going to add problems to the problems that you may already be facing. So if you're interested, please give me a call at 706-426-1471, or you can email me at preciousjewel492@gmail.com.
Come on, everybody, get your feet happy. Let's go. Come on. Where my islanders? Can some of y'all run down here to the front real quick? I gotta know who's in the building. Where my islanders? I need y'all to run down here. Come on, let me see you. Say it. Show me how to do it, y'all. I believe. Say it. Say it. I believe you. I trust. Come on. In you. Oh Lord. Jehovah, you. Where y'all at? Come on. Come on. I trust in you. I believe. Say it. I believe. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of wonder. You are the God of wonder. You are the God of powerful. You are the God of power. I believe. Say it. I believe. I believe. I believe. I believe. Say it, y'all. I believe. I believe. Come on, let your feet get heavy. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Somebody make some noise in here. Come on, catch it, Jehovah. I trust in you. Oh Lord, say it. Jehovah, you. I trust in you. I believe. Say it. Everybody say it. I believe. I trust. Come on. Y'all got your part over here. I can't hear you. Come on, say it. I trust. Say it. I believe. Say it. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of wonders. You are the God of miracles. You are the God of power. I believe. Say it. I believe. Say it. Say it. Say it. Now everybody get radical for 30 seconds. Come on, dance on the devil's head. Come on, come on. Come on. Y'all ain't radical enough over here. Balcony, I can't feel ya. Move the beat, everybody, let's go.
Alrighty, and that was a song from Jonathan Nelson, I believe. I'm sure all of you were dancing and enjoying to that beautiful song from Jonathan Nelson, I believe. Of course, there was an intent and a purpose for playing that song because we believe that the issues that we are confronted with through our efforts and our continuous talking about it, we will make an impact and make a difference in the world. And so, folks, once again, I want to take this moment to welcome our studio guest in the person of Na Adei. Now, welcome back to Be Inspired Podcast Network.
Thank you very much, Sam. I really
Great.
I'm here.
Good. So now let's go to Liberia here. Liberia have Joseph here, and Joseph in Liberia says that well, the issue of child molestation and putting children into a position of womanhood is a very sad one. But when our society is broken, what else do you expect? We live in a broken society where people are taking advantage of politicians and individuals who have a lot of money and resources are even the ones that oversees this unholy behavior. And so I am not so surprised that this is a problem all over Africa, but I am also certain that with efforts like what you are doing currently on the Be Inspired Radio, we should be able to change the world for the better. What piece of advice will you give to Liberians, especially those who are also partaking in such a silly behavior by engaging young women into adulthood?
Thank you, Sam. I would say let's come together as youth. Let's put all hands on deck and break the cycle of poverty in our society and help to stop child marriages, reduce exploitation on these young girls. Let's come together. It is not a call for one person. It's not a call for one person. Let's all come together and believe ourselves and help change our society. It's not going to just take just today to start and to end, but it's going to take somebody to take that initiative. And let's get people who believe in our initiatives to join hands together with us. Let's get people who believe in our vision, our initiatives, to join hands with us, just as you are doing with the media front, which is very, very good. And I must salute you for it, Sam. Let's put all hands on deck. I'll keep repeating that. Because it's not a call for just one person. We all need to come together. And one thing I have seen in some of our NGOs or our civil societies is once somebody is doing something, some are just there, relaxed, and try to stigmatize. We need to come together. Let's not call each other names, but we are one people with a common destiny. That's what I believe in. So let's come together because we are one people. Let me hold this side, you hold that side, that person hold the other side, and together we can move and change our society. Change begins with me. It begins with you. Let's all do it together. That is what I can say.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for that response. And now let's go to Kenya. And Kenya, and this is coming from Murata in Kenya. And Murata says that, well, this issue is an issue all over Africa, surprisingly. Why are we surprised? Our society is such a useless society to the point that men, people, those with resources, and our society have just accepted something that is unacceptable. In the United States of America, where I lived for 27 years before coming back to Kenya, you will be arrested and you will be put behind bars. It doesn't matter what culture is. Culture is a way of life. Are we saying that it is our way of life in Africa to prey on children? Give me a break. I don't think so. And so, please, I am very, 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 very in support of what you and your organization is doing. Let's raise our voices together and let us sign petitions to bring our government to task, because every form of child sexuality is child abuse. Period. What do you
Yes.
think?
Thank you. I really agree with you, my dear. I really agree with you.
Now, as a follow up to Murate's question, and this is directly coming from me. So now this is what my point is. If Ghana, for instance, boasts of appending its signature to the Convention of the Child Rights Act, and we says that every form of sexuality around children is an abuse of, because I had Dana Asempa from Asempa FM on our show a couple of months ago, I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and he talked about similar things. So then the question that I want to put to you now is this: what prevents government? Why is it that government do not have a political will to enact a law that will criminalize any form of marriage to a child who is under 17 years?
I know that in Ghana, you can't marry a child.
But it's
That
not.
is
But
what
it's
I
not.
know.
But it's not a law. Because prior to this, I've also gone into the system to look at the
Right.
the practical laws in the countries, and I've looked throughout Africa. It is not a law. It has not in any form criminalized the behavior. Yes, society frowns against that behavior, but you just cited a source from UNICEF website. How did that happen? And why did we accept that to, even in the first place, to put it up as a story? Why would that be a story in the first place if our society is confronting these issues? You see, so I find it very difficult that our communities and civil society organizations are not demanding accountability from government to help criminalize this behavior, because we talk about it, yes, but then what is the consequences for those who engage in such practices?
Then I think this is where we need the media to come in. This is where we need the media to come in, to cover such stories, to hype such stories, to talk about such stories, rather than always just discussing politics. We need to talk about this kind of issues on our airways. If every airways, every media house is talking about such things, definitely government should do something about it with one voice. If we are all discussing, you tune into this radio, they are talking about it. You tune into that FM station, they are talking about it. And people are calling in, and we come together. The media is up there. Let us use it. We need to help sensitize the people and come together and get government to do and pass such laws.
Got you. And I very much agree with you that we all have a role to play in ensuring that such behaviors are kept. But then a question which is coming from Kumasi here from Kofi, and Kofi said that, well, I live here in Bantama area, and I know what you are talking about very, very well. But this is the society we live in. This is the community we live in. What has anybody done? Our chiefs, who are the major custodians of the land, consider this as part of our culture, that influential people have the liberty and the right to marry anybody at all. This is super shameful in our community. It just happened 3 weeks ago here in Kumasi, where a 14-year-old girl got married to a 65-year-old man with an intention of taking this individual to the United States to pursue academic excellence and so to have a wife. And so I don't
Look at that.
understand why all these things are happening. And that's our society. I think it is okay. I think it is about time we rise up as civil society and bring government to task. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you perfectly, Kofi. We do not have to accept it. We need to continue to frown upon it. It's just becoming unbecoming. I feel so sad to hear such stories. I wept within me to hear such stories. You said just 3 weeks ago it happened. That child's potential is killed. That child's potential is killed. You know, why should this happen in the first place? Because parents have seen money. Parents have seen money. And what causes that? Poverty. When there's poverty, people tend to accept anything at all. When the family is poor, they tend to accept anything at all, no matter what they are given. And the girl child is at risk at this. Is the girl child that is being used to fend for the family, which is unacceptable.
It is indeed unacceptable.
I feel so sorry. I feel so sorry for these girls. I feel so sorry. But we can start from somewhere. We don't just have to talk about it. Actions, we all know, speak louder than words. It's not about talking. The talk shops are too much. There should be some action. The talk shops are too much.
Very good.
If we can talk the talk, let's walk the walk. Let's take some actions together. Let's take some actions together. This is unacceptable.
Taking actions together is the way forward. And so we at Be Inspired team will definitely ensure that we will partner with your organization and other civil society organizations to make the reality. At least for today, we've had the opportunity of speaking to over 17,000 people who have been well informed about the dangers and the implications of these situations. But I could also see the clock, and I know we are getting closer to be wrapping up very soon. Can you believe it's almost an hour of our conversation already?
Oh, wow.
How time flies. But having said that, and before we get into the wrapping up zone, let's talk a bit about what you and the organization is doing. So what is your project, Girls in Livelihood, all about?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Girls in Livelihood, GIL, is a 3-month entrepreneurship and hands-on skills training project for disadvantaged young girls in the Nima and Mamobi communities in Accra. The program targets 350 disadvantaged young girls and women, especially those being pushed into early child marriages, head porters, popularly known as Kayaye, and female school dropouts who have no any employable skill set. We are going to train them in models such as beadwork, fashion designing, batik tie and dye, soap making, baby food making, to help to equip, educate and empower these ones. We are going to give them this livelihood support to help them to also have some income to further their education and also help to protect them from these forced and child marriages. We are also going to give this economically viable youth with skills of self-sustenance, which in turn will reduce their dependency and the risk of falling into the vicious cycle of poverty, to improve their living conditions and ultimately be economically secured. Most of our participants are also we are going to give them training such as bookkeeping, how to use social media to advertise and market their products, customer service relations, and what have you. And those that will exhibit that enthusiasm, passion, we're going to help them to be set up, to have their own small ventures and do something for themselves and their families. We're going to help to break that cycle of poverty and child marriages. We want to help to reduce the exploitation of young girls. We're going to help to harness the social, economic potentials of the future mothers of Ghana. We're going to break all this out. We know it's not going to be easy, but we are starting from somewhere. We are starting from somewhere. We're going to help them. We're going to also help to groom them, mentor them, and walk through the journey with them. We're going to give them follow-ups. We're going to be on them every now and then. We're following up with them just to see how they are going, just to see how they are faring, just to see what progress they are making. We are so passionate about this project, and we are calling on individuals, corporate bodies to help us, to support us. We really appreciate being inspired, be on board. We really appreciate you. We say thank you so much for everything you have done and you are doing for us. And we are calling others to support, to be able to commence this project, to be able to start this project. It's something dear to our hearts, especially being there to see what is happening on the ground. What I needed to even write that day, I couldn't write. I just turned because I'm also a mother. And I will not do that to my child. I turned and I kept weeping to myself. I wept. I wept that day. I can't understand. Up to today, I don't understand. And I can't understand why somebody would pick or give his or her child of that young age into marriage. Why? Why? Is it the fault of the child to be born a girl child? Is it?
Well, I wish we can. I wish we can. I wish we can have the voice and the resources to immediately turn this whole thing to a complete stop. But we will not stop making noise. We will not stop empowering young women and young children. We will not stay silent. We will continue to use our voices as a weaponry to ensure that an attention is given to those who matters most. I totally agree with exactly all the things that you have said, and I'm equally passionate about ensuring that smiles are brought to the faces of those who needed it the most. And so, on this note, folks from around the world, I am very grateful for your time. I am very excited that all of you spent some time with us in our conversation today with Adei. Before we come back to wrap it up, I just want to remind all of you again that next Saturday it's going to be a big launch. Joandi Mariam is launching her debut album Asida, and yours truly, I'm going to be the MC for the day, and I want to invite all of you in the city of Woodbridge area, in the state of Virginia, those in the state of Maryland, in the Washington DC area, all in the United States of America. Come and let's have fun. Come and let's support this young woman with her debut album. And of course, I promise you that when I take the microphone, you know how I do it all the time. I'll bring heavy inspiration to your heart, and you will know that indeed you came to a place that God touched you. So I just want to wish all of you the best of luck. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And now let's go back to our guest to give us her wrapping remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. I'm very honored. And thank you for all your contribution, your advice, and your questions. I hope I was able to answer your questions as you expect. And I'm always ready to come back if there need be. What can I say? We at Youngstars Development Initiative, Accra, Ghana, is calling on all of you. Help to support us to change the destinies of these less privileged girls. Donate and support our Girls in Livelihood cause. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. God bless you.
God bless you. You are blessed. And thank you so much, my good friend, once again, for spending some time with us. Our regards to the family, the kids, and and my Santa friend and everyone around you and your team. I say God bless them for the wonderful work they do. And folks, I just also want to mention this real quick. If you happen to be in Ghana, and please get in touch with Nadi and support their work. They have some beautiful fabrics. I introduced them to my tailor, and my tailor just got some, and they just told me yesterday they sold me some beautiful cloth out of the ones they got from you. And so we give God the glory. We thank God for the work that you guys are doing. And, little by little, we bring inspiration and encouragement to ourselves and from around the world. And so, folks, once again, I just want to thank all of you for your time. It's been a beautiful afternoon here in the United States, and also a beautiful night for the folks in Ghana who tune in and listen. God bless all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, and we give God the praise. Enjoy and keep your dial here on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Have fun and stay blessed.
Welcome to Weekend Night Live, hosted by Samuel Jacobs Abbey, where we play music, talk shows, and interviews on Be Inspired Podcast Network. Stay tuned and keep your dial on www.beinspiredpodcast.com. Don't forget to stay connected, be inspired, be unique, and be different.